Across airports every day, seniors are being stopped, searched, delayed, and embarrassed over medical equipment that may not have needed extra screening at all. Some travelers are told to enter the scanner. Others are warned not to. Some TSA agents allow certain medical devices instantly, while others treat the exact same equipment completely differently. So why are airport screening rules so inconsistent? And why do so many seniors only discover these hidden TSA loopholes after a stressful security incident? Loopholes 9 and 8. One of the most overlooked airport loopholes starts before seniors even reach the scanner. Many travelers still believe every liquid must follow the strict 3.4-ounce rule. So when TSA agents stop a bag filled with medication, panic usually follows immediately. But medically necessary liquids are often treated differently. Prescription syrups, liquid medications, insulin, cooling gels, saline, and even some medical ice packs may qualify for exemptions during airport screening. Yet many seniors say nobody explains this clearly until after a stressful bag search begins. And that confusion creates another problem. Some older travelers quietly throw away expensive medication before security because they assume TSA will reject it anyway. But liquids are only part of the issue. The next loophole involves a machine millions of seniors travel with every year, and many still fear bringing it through airport security. CPAP machines are considered medical devices, which means they often do not count the same way as regular carry-on bags. Yet travelers continue paying extra baggage fees or checking expensive machines into cargo storage without realizing they may have protected carry-on rights. And that's where another controversy begins. Some travelers say airport staff explain these medical protections clearly. Others claim they received completely different answers depending on the airline, airport, or TSA officer involved. Which raises another frustrating question. If these medical loopholes are already part of airport policy, why do so many seniors still learn about them through stressful mistakes instead of simple guidance? And the next loophole may be one of the most physically uncomfortable airport experiences seniors face. Loopholes 7 and 6. For many seniors, the hardest part of airport security is not the waiting. It's the standing. Long lines. Hard floors. Balance problems. Back pain. Arthritis. Yet countless older travelers still force themselves through painful screening procedures because they assume there is no other option. But TSA procedures may allow seated screening alternatives for travelers who cannot comfortably stand for long periods. The problem is, many seniors say they only hear about this after struggling through the checkpoint anyway. And that confusion becomes even more stressful once medical implants enter the picture. Pacemakers. Joint replacements. Insulin pumps. Nerve stimulators. Metal implants. These devices often trigger extra screening, but what happens next can vary widely from airport to airport. Some travelers report being sent through body scanners with no issue. Others are immediately pulled aside for hand inspections and pat-downs. And this is where the controversy becomes difficult to ignore. Some medical device manufacturers reportedly advise caution around certain scanners, while many travelers say TSA agents continue recommending them as safe and routine. That leaves seniors trapped between two completely different messages. Trust the airport scanner, or trust the warning that came with the medical device. For nervous travelers already worried about delays, missing flights, or device problems, that uncertainty alone can turn airport security into a deeply stressful experience. But the next loophole may be even more personal. Because many seniors still don't realize they may have the right to avoid discussing sensitive medical conditions in front of an entire security line. Loopholes 5 and 4. Airport security becomes far more uncomfortable when private medical issues suddenly become public. Seniors traveling with ostomy bags, catheters, feeding tubes, adult medical products, or attached devices often fear one thing more than delays: embarrassment. Some travelers describe standing in crowded security lines while trying to quietly explain deeply personal medical conditions to strangers nearby. Others say they felt pressured to reveal more information than they expected just to move through screening. But many seniors don't realize private screening rooms can often be requested during medical checks. And for some travelers, that single option changes everything. Instead of discussing sensitive medical equipment in front of dozens of people, screenings may be moved to a more private area away from the crowd. Yet many passengers say nobody mentions this unless they specifically ask. And the next loophole may be one of the biggest hidden protections older travelers overlook completely. It's called TSA Cares. Many seniors have never heard of it, even though the program was created to help travelers with medical conditions, disabilities, mobility issues, and special screening concerns. The service may help coordinate airport assistance before travel even begins. But here's where confusion appears again. Some travelers describe TSA Cares as smooth and extremely helpful. Others say airport experiences still varied widely despite requesting assistance ahead of time. Which creates another frustrating reality seniors rarely expect before traveling. Sometimes the biggest airport problem is not the official policy itself, but how differently that policy may be handled depending on who is standing at the checkpoint that day. And the next loophole may explain why some seniors move through airport security far faster than others. Loopholes 3 and 2. One of the most confusing parts of airport security for seniors happens after they pass through the scanner. Many assume the process is the same for everyone. But travelers over 75 may actually qualify for modified screening procedures that reduce certain steps like shoe removal or additional checks. Yet many older passengers say they still go through the full process simply because they were never informed of the option or never thought to ask. That gap in awareness creates a strange pattern at airports. Two seniors, the same age, the same medical situation, but completely different screening experiences. And the difference often comes down to one simple question. Was it requested? Because in many cases, TSA procedures for medical accommodations and alternative screening methods are not automatically applied. They are triggered when passengers speak up. And for many seniors, that moment of speaking up is exactly what feels uncomfortable or confusing in a busy airport environment. But the next loophole introduces an even more sensitive issue. Mobility devices. Walkers, canes, wheelchairs, and mobility scooters often receive special handling during screening, but not all travelers understand how that process actually works. Some seniors worry their equipment will be separated from them or sent away for inspection. Others are unsure how to request proper handling without slowing everything down. And while TSA guidelines do allow alternative screening methods for mobility aids, the real-world experience can still feel unpredictable depending on the situation. Which leads to a deeper concern many seniors quietly carry. If even essential mobility equipment is handled differently from airport to airport, what else might change without warning during the screening process? And the final loophole may be the one that causes the most disagreement among travelers and even professionals. Loopholes 1. One of the most misunderstood parts of airport security is what happens when a medical device cannot go through standard screening at all. Many seniors assume they must simply accept whatever scanning method is assigned. But in reality, passengers can often request alternative screening methods when medical conditions are involved. This includes pat-down options, manual inspection of certain items, and other procedures designed for medical safety and comfort. Yet here's where confusion grows again. Some travelers say these options were offered immediately. Others say they only learned about them after asking several questions at the checkpoint. And that inconsistency creates a deeper problem. It makes seniors feel like airport rules are unpredictable, even when official policies exist in writing. But the most controversial loophole of all involves something even more sensitive than screening procedures. Medical device safety. Some travelers with insulin pumps, pacemakers, and other implanted devices report being told scanners are completely safe. Others say they were warned by manufacturers or medical providers to avoid certain screening technologies when possible. So now travelers are left with two different messages. Airport security says one thing. Medical guidance sometimes suggests another. And in the middle are seniors who simply want to pass through security safely without delays, confusion, or risk to their health. This tension between official airport procedure and medical caution is one of the most debated topics among frequent travelers with health conditions. But the final loophole is not about equipment at all. It's about what happens when seniors feel overwhelmed, confused, or unsure during the screening process itself. Final loophole. The last and most overlooked loophole has nothing to do with machines, scanners, or medical devices. It's about support. Many seniors walk into airport security alone, assuming they must manage every step by themselves. But what they don't realize is that assistance programs exist specifically for travelers who need extra help navigating screening procedures. This can include guidance through checkpoints, help communicating with officers, or support for those who feel overwhelmed by medical or mobility conditions. Yet despite being available, many seniors never hear about these services until after they've already struggled through a difficult airport experience. And that creates a pattern that repeats itself every day. Confusion leads to stress. Stress leads to mistakes. And mistakes often lead to longer screenings or uncomfortable situations that could have been avoided. But even when assistance exists, another issue remains. Not every traveler knows when to ask or what exactly to request. And that uncertainty becomes the final barrier between seniors and a smoother airport experience. This is where everything comes together. Because across all these medical equipment loopholes, one theme keeps appearing again and again. Some protections are written in policy, but not always explained in practice. Which means two seniors with the same condition can walk through completely different experiences depending on awareness alone. And that raises a final unsettling thought. If so many airport medical protections exist on paper, how many are still going unnoticed every single day by the people who need them most? By this point, one question becomes hard to ignore. How many seniors are going through airport security every single day, unaware that certain medical screenings, delays, or uncomfortable procedures might have been avoided completely? Because across all these loopholes, exemptions, and hidden options, a pattern keeps showing up again and again. Nothing is technically hidden in the rules, but almost everything depends on knowing what to ask. And that small detail changes everything. One traveler may move through security in minutes with minimal stress. Another, with the exact same medical condition, may go through a far more difficult process simply because no one explained the available options. And this is where the real concern begins. It's not just about airport procedures. It's about awareness. Because as more seniors travel with medical devices, implants, and essential equipment, the gap between written policy and real-world experience becomes harder to ignore. And somewhere in that gap, are situations that most travelers only understand after they've already gone through them. But there is still one detail that hasn't been fully answered yet. Some of the most experienced frequent flyers quietly mention a final layer of airport screening guidance that rarely gets discussed publicly. And according to them, it can completely change how the entire security process feels from start to finish. But that part of the story is something most travelers only learn after their first major delay.